And it was a very political time in Newfoundland, and Newfoundland was changing a lot. Smallwood was going out. There was really a new era coming in, and that had a lot to do with a lot of the kind of theater we did. But I got involved with the Mummers, with Chris Brooks and the Mummers, and I never intended to do theater. It was never my intention to do theater for a living, absolutely not. And in fact, the way I got involved had more to do because the Mummers were a very political theater company, and very, very involved in trying to give a voice to the Newfoundland story. And that was what interested me, the politics of it, the cultural aspect, the fact that it was about Newfoundland, which was always the thing, the sort of great.
Even at St. Bon's, there was encouragement to perform, right? There were these little talent shows, and you do sketches and songs, Irish songs, And I don't quite know how this fit in, but I remember somehow I signed up as a kid for something called Spring Smiles and Whistles. Has anyone else talked about that?
I think I've read about it in another transcript.
Yeah, and Don Cook I remember playing the piano. I remember he had a crooked little finger. Or was that Nish Rumbold? But Nish Rumbold was involved, Don Cook was involved, I think. I mean, I was very young at the time. We all had to have, gray pants and white shirts and a little scarf on our neck, and all different colored scarves, and but it's Spring Smiles and Whistles more or less tells you the story. It was like upbeat kind of songs and little routines, and it was very cute and crowd pleasing. And so so you were encouraged to do that, and you'd sort of forget about it because you were doing a lot of other things afterwards. So it wasn't until Brother Bellows at Brother Rice said, "I'd like you to be in some Gilbert and Sullivan thing he was doing." And he got me up on the stage, in the audio-visual room. We didn't even have a theater in that school. And he said, he gave me some things to do while I was up on stage, and it felt entirely foreign. Maybe because then I was a teenager, and that teenage awkwardness you have to get through.
For sure.
But he was a big figure for me because he broke through that, whatever it was. And so I ended up being in that production, and then subsequently in another production for him that ended up on the CBC. So he sort of helped me break through this teenage awkwardness and say, oh yeah, I can get up there and make noise and take up space like everybody else.
Yeah.
I started out in Shakespeare by the Sea.
Oh wow.
The very first play I did was A Midsummer Night's Dream. I was Hippolyta's attendant and an Amazon. I had no lines, and I had a cow horn where I blew the cow horn to announce the intermission, and I stood there for 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
And then blew the cow horn again and walked off. And that was I was in the wedding scene too. I got to be with wherever
Well, they were
Hippolyta
just all
was.
friends of mine, and I was hanging around with them all the time. I'd go and drink and after shows and stuff like that, and also they would come out to see bands that I was playing in.
Oh.
So we were all kind of the same community, just like kids today. If they're playing in the band, they'll go to see their Betty's band.
Yeah, for sure.
All of that. So yeah, that's just why when they needed a guitar player, then I was first on top of the list. And that's how I eventually ended up working with them on television.
And it was in Labrador as well, Antoinette, that I developed my interest in theatre. I mean, that it really took hold.
Yes.
Because I think my interest in it was always lying there, and there was certain indications of that through high school and not so much through university. But when I moved to Labrador City, there was a community theatre group up there called the Carol Players. And they were very big on going to the Newfoundland Labrador Drama Festival. It was like an Olympic event to them. They really worked hard, but put together really good shows, and they were going out to win trophies and awards and things. And I got cast in one of their productions, and I just got the bug.